Hi, I'm Mitchell Ringos. Welcome to Word for Word, where we offer you an in-depth look at some of our interviews with newsmakers from across the region. You'll have the opportunity to hear word for word how they responded to the news of the day. City Council will be asked to approve the preferred design for the Victoriaville site on Monday once the mall is torn down. The plan is to reopen Victoria and Syndicate Avenues in an effort to revitalize the city's south core, with the project's new price tag coming in at $17 million.
So on Monday, Council will be reviewing a report about the preferred design option for the demolition of Victoriaville and the opening of Victoria Avenue. So that's an important milestone. It sets the working budget for the project and some of the major elements, and would have the engineering group continue with more detailed design and put that out for tender this fall. So, yeah, once again, very, very important part of the project.
Okay, and so the public has seen some kind of previews of what this design might look like. Is there anything new from what the public has seen, or does it kind of expand upon that?
Well, I think it's more of a refinement of what the public has seen over time. So there have been a few different versions that have gone to the public, so starting broad and becoming narrower. So there was consideration in terms of design themes. So there's a boreal theme and an urban heritage theme. The urban heritage theme was preferred. There were elements and, let's say, programming features that the public considered, and the design that's before council is reflective of that, and includes a green space, a lawn that can be an attraction for programming and hardscaping as well.
Can you maybe talk to, obviously we see some construction tape around, there's work going on in the mall right now. How does that kind of prepare for when the demolition goes ahead, and what exactly is going on right now?
Yeah, so the work that's going on right now is some destructive testing and sort of exploration. So, behind here we've uncovered the foundations to know what we are, what we're working with. So this section here will be closed off. There'll be a new entrance that goes to the McKellar space, and also exploring what finishes with the existing buildings are suitable for exterior exposure, and so we can further design what needs to be replaced. Also part of the report package going to council is some architectural theming. So it would be to that theme that the municipal buildings would be designed for, and the work that's necessary for the privately owned buildings, and it's also theming that can continue over time as abutting owners decide to make improvements to their building.
In terms of the public space, earlier in the process we heard about possibilities like public market, water features, stage. Are those going to be included in this design, or is that possibly stuff that could be added in the future, or have those been kind of ruled out? Where does that stand?
Yeah, so what we're bringing to council is essentially the I will say a base plus design, right? There is there's certainly features that could be added in over time that have been removed for the time being to stay within the working budget. So things like stage, additional rehabilitation of Syndicate Avenue, and upgrades to the parkade ramp to make that more visually appealing. Public washrooms is something that's will be provided for, so roughed in, that could be added at a later date. We need to bring a package to council that falls within a reasonable budget and can be added to after. The first order of business is to remove the mall, get the street open, and create a beautiful and functional streetscape for Victoria Avenue.
And I was out here for the public consultation, must have been about a month and a half ago. Just tell me, what were some of the big themes that came out of that? How is the public feeling about the project as a whole, you think?
Yeah, there's a lot of support. There's a lot of excitement about what the area will be like and how it'll look and function with the mall removed. This is something that was in large part initiated by the businesses, the renderings are very inspiring, and I'm looking forward to seeing what it's like when it's completed and as the project progresses.
So I know people were generally supportive, so maybe it was just giving you the kind of push to move forward with what was already being thought about, but any examples of how public feedback has kind of shaped this project?
Yeah, so the feedback has shaped the features that are part of the end state design, right? So the public space and new roadway that would be constructed. So Victoria Avenue would be narrowed to 2 lanes of traffic, parking on one side, very wide sidewalks, active transportation lane. So these are all things that have been very important to the public, including provision for patio space and the ability to even close off that section and program it and hold festivals and make space available for the businesses to hold weekend events.
Like we've been talking about, the feedback was largely supportive in the consultations. One thing that I picked out looking at that report is just that there was some feedback expressing maybe a desire for more on-street parking. Has there been any response to that, or do city staff feel like there is already adequate parking in this design?
Well, there's so this design adds more parking to the area, right? So there's more parking than is there will be more parking in the future than is currently the case, and there's also ability to create more on-street parking in the streets that surround, right? So there's we see in other parts of the city angled parking and streets are converted to one way. So I'm very confident that we've got enough parking on street now, and the ability, we hope to have the problem that all that space, those spaces are taken and things are very busy, in which case we can look to realign the parking supply and add more. So I know that the convenience of parking is something that's very important, and there will be parking that's added to Victoria Avenue on this side of the street that we're standing, and that's in addition to what exists now.
Thursday was World Elder Abuse Awareness Day, and to commemorate the occasion in Thunder Bay, a flag raising took place at City Hall. It's meant to advance the conversation around the right to age with safety, dignity, and respect.
Deanna, why was it so important that we raise this flag here today?
It's important because everyone needs to know that elder abuse exists. Not everyone realizes it, and our older adults, they deserve so much more. So today is bringing that awareness to everyone, that rights don't get old.
How serious of an issue is elderly abuse in Thunder Bay?
Well, between 8 and 10% of all older adults will be the victim at some point in their lives. And Thunder Bay, we have an aging population, and so it's going to get worse, and so we need to bring awareness to this fact.
And if I may ask, just a little bit more details in terms of what are some incidents of elders getting abused in the community? What do they look like?
There's financial abuse, so where either a family member or a friend has taken advantage of a senior and taken their money. There's been home invasions where someone takes over a senior's house. There's neglect if the senior's not getting the care that they need or deserve. Those are just some examples.
And besides raising awareness, what are some other steps that could be taken towards, improving or reducing the amount of elder abuse in the city?
That's a great question. The first thing is recognizing the signs of elder abuse. So if you're noticing a senior is starting to isolate, they're not taking care of themselves, they're depressed, anxious, asking, is everything okay? Not demeaning them by any means, and not even stating right away that you think maybe they're being abused, but just checking in and saying, is everything okay? I'm here if you want to talk. Because we all have a part to play, and sometimes seniors are embarrassed or ashamed and they're not willing to talk about it, but if you bring it up in a caring attitude, they might open up to you.
Perfect. And I also understand there's a walk taking place today, right?
Yes, at the 55 Plus Center at 11:30, we're having a walk around the property, again, just to bring that awareness to World Elder Abuse Awareness Day, followed by a barbecue that's put in part with IG Wealth and 55 Plus Center.
Perfect. Anything else to add that we haven't already talked about?
No, I'm just really grateful for this exposure. We really want everyone to be aware of elder abuse. Take care of your older adults. They have built this city and they deserve our respect and dignity.
The Port Arthur Health Centre is celebrating its 100th anniversary this year, and this week, officials marked the occasion with health professionals past and present in attendance to honor the centennial and the quality health care the centre has provided to Thunder Bay.
So I talked to Dr. Joannis's brother-in-law, who was working in Belfast at the time, and he said Thunder Bay needs new physicians. So I called Peter Bentz, who was on the board at that time, and Peter said, when can you come? So 4 of us came from Northern Ireland to Thunder Bay within the next year after that. So I arrived in January 1975 and was greeted by the physicians. It was an amazing experience. The warmth was unreal. So they took us in, they looked after us, we partied a lot back in those days as well. But working at the clinic, it was walk in, start your practice, and as Chris Francis said, everything is done for you here. So we try to do as much one-stop shopping as we can. We have a pharmacy, we have a lab. We're just restarting X-ray and bone density downstairs, and ultrasound and echocardiograms are coming. We have a dental technician. We have foot care, we have psychology, which is provided by the Norwest Clinic. So it's a great place to work. It's fun coming to work. The patients in Thunder Bay are very appreciative. And it's great to treat them. So.
Maybe tell us about, because this clinic's now played a large part of your life, and you've played a large part in this clinic's history. So what does this day specifically, being able to celebrate that centennial, mean to you?
Just being here for 100 years shows the tenacity of the physicians and the staff at the Port Arthur Health Centre. We've been through some bad times, some great times, but we're still here and we're hoping to continue to grow. We've just started to become a family health organization, an FHO, which will help the general practice department and hopefully more recruitment. The advent of the medical school here has been really a big thing. We are lucky my practice has been taken over by a graduate of the medical school here, and I'm very thankful for that. We have a good affiliation with the medical school. The hospital affiliation is also excellent. We have a lot of learners come through the clinic associated with the general practice and also gynecology, ENT, and endocrinology. So that's a major boon. Where do I see us in the future? It's difficult to know. The shortage of physicians right now in Canada, but also across the world, is becoming a real issue for patients. So access to care is what we're going for. And as John Morello has said, the new Ontario Health Team will hopefully help to alleviate some of that, or at least give us an idea of where the needs are, and we'll proceed from there.
Can you talk about when you think back to when you started versus today, how has this clinic changed? What are some of the big things that would pop into your mind in terms of how things have evolved since then?
I think the evolution is mainly in communication. Electronic medical records, in my opinion, has made a big difference. We also have a system in place called OLIS, the Ontario Laboratory Information System, which enables us to access information on patient investigations done outside of Thunder Bay. Our affiliation with the hospital has become more important to all of us. The integration also of the Ontario Health Team and the Norwest Clinic has been very important in our growth, and hopefully we'll continue to communicate with them.
Now I understand you know a little bit or have dug into the history of the clinic a little bit, perhaps. When you think back to Dr. Ballantyne and the other doctors who founded the clinic here, what do you think about their experience and how different it was from yours when you started out?
I think the big difference again was the foresight of these physicians. Dr. Pratt was working on his own, and he asked Dr. Ballantyne to come up here and join him, and that was the beginning of the clinic. They were doing a lot of work in the mines back in those days and for miners, so we did have a satellite clinic outside of Thunder Bay. I'm uncertain as to exactly where it was, but I think it was around Geraldton. The clinic itself initially had 6 examining rooms. There was also an overnight room for a physician to stay there to provide care through the night. So that was basically the emergency department of the day. House calls were a really big thing, and even when I came here, part of my day was doing house calls, making house calls. We still make them, and I have done up until my semi-retirement or transition, as you will, but now it's made to patients who are shut-ins or who are having difficulty getting out.
T-Baytel has wrapped up its latest charitable funding program. The 2023 T-Baytel for Good Community Fund is providing a total of $30,000 to 6 organizations in support of their projects.
Why does T-Baytel provide $30,000 every year to the community?
Yeah, you know, it's part of our promise to sort of take care of our neighborhood. We have a number of ways that we like to give back through our T-Baytel for Good sponsorship initiative, and the T-Baytel for Good Community Fund is just another way to do that. But this one in particular is pretty awesome because, you know, we get to see a lot of community excitement, a lot of regional excitement, and we never really know when we put the call out what sort of applications we're going to get. And we saw that with these 6 winners today. You know, such a diverse array of need out there, but also sort of ideas that we're really excited to be able to fund.
What went into choosing these 6 organizations to receive the funding that you provided?
So the fund has been around since 2013 in different forms. You know, the last little while people are probably very used to us having the community voting, but we heard from some feedback from some places that's kind of difficult to rally that sort of support sometimes. So this year, in an effort to make it even more accessible and easier to apply, we expanded our T-Baytel for Good judging panel to 11 people, including 2 T-Baytel employees, but from, you know, a really big swath of life experiences and professional experiences, and so they got together and they determined these winners. You know, different again this year too was that you could apply for any amount up to $10,000. We used to have funding categories, but we found again there were some people that needed a little more, needed a little less to get these projects off the ground, and so for that reason the judges were able to pick more winners than ever before, which is how we ended up with the 6 today. And you'll notice, you know, there's a pretty big difference between some of the dollar amounts, but you know, the need, but also those ideas are still great.
I guess part of that difference in dollar amount also is part of the judging process in terms of what is needed for certain projects?
Yeah. So again, you know, an applicant could ask for any amount up to $10,000. So we saw, you know, the Thunder Bay Free Store, they really only required $1,500 for this specific project, whereas the St. Pat's Clover Cafe here that we're celebrating required the full $10,000 to really get their idea off the ground.
And what does it mean to you personally and as an organization to be able to, again, just give $30,000 every year to the community?
Yeah, this is certainly, you know, it's a big project for my colleagues and I, but it's so rewarding and so inspiring to see the amazing ideas that are out there. You know, year after year, we see these incredible ideas come to our table, and it's just so great as a northerner who, you know, lives, works, and plays here as well, to be able to see that these inspiring people and ideas are out there all the time.
Thanks for joining us for today's edition of Word for Word. We'll be back next week with more interviews from across the Northwest.